Hello people, today I have with us the Lieber Knight from the 30-minute fantasy series. This is a kit I've been wanting to do a review of for forever. Now I actually did a review of this one some time ago, but I somehow lost that review. Now this guy, he is just in his normal form. This is what they call a silhouette form. You can see he is pretty basic. He looks like a regular guy in robot suit, maybe a cosplayer of Iron Man that went wrong. That's what I get the vibes of. Definitely not knight-like as of right now, but that will soon change when we up his armor. Now, when you get a box of the 30-minute fantasies, it comes in a couple of different varieties here in the States, at least. You can get the Lieber Knight just by himself, and then you have options to up armor him in the Holy Knight class or in the Paladin class. So he has two different paths to take on his journey upward into the ranks as a knight. Or you can get the special edition box in the States, which is the Lieber Holy Knight box, which comes with the knight himself, the silhouette form, the knight armor, and the Holy Knight armor. So it's one of the two paths that you can branch off to. The instructions included will continue. I think I have this piece on upside down. It's bugging me now. Yeah, it's supposed to be this way. There you go. So he is just the base form right out of the box. I put him together. He does have the rings like normal without the attachments like this one does. But I just decided to leave him on because to armor him up, you're going to need to put those on anyway. So those will be added later. But much like the 30-minute sisters, you have that that ability to just put the ring on with the 3mm peg, and that will help you attach some of the parts. And then of course, like the 30-minute missions before and the 30-minute sisters before as well, lots of 3mm ports. So I do want to go into the articulation on this one. So I'll probably do it here without any of the armor on. The armor doesn't really restrict anything, but we will compare it to it afterwards when we get him all armored up into the Holy Knight. For now, let's go ahead and see what he can do. So if we start at the top, we have the nice ball joint at the head. Gets you a lot of articulation. The neck has a cool swivel joint inside, which lets you bend it all the way back this way, perhaps even more, which will let you get that gun cannon on a cliff pose, and he will still be able to maintain his eyes on the target. And then of course there is a pivot point in the chest armor area, so that can move back and forth as well. But the ball joint is at the top. This is two pins that hold this one in place. This arm joint is very sophisticated, so we're going to go with each part as we come along. Inside, there's a bar here that goes from the front chest to the back chest that goes up and down. So that is what you're seeing here. Then, this piece can move all the way forward, all the way back like so. It's not a super unlimited range, but it is an added articulation, which is good because this piece here allows for a rotation at that joint all the way around, and for a bend at almost 90 degrees. Let's move that out of the way, like so. And with that in conjunction, you get a lot of articulation, depending on what you need. So that can help him cross his arms over to the other side without leaving too far off the chest, more like a human can. So leave that one back. This part pegs into here, so you get a rotation here. 1 degree of articulation here, which does quite a bit. It's not quite up to what a dual joint system can do and give that parallel to it, but that's pretty good for a somewhat armored personnel. And then of course we have the similar joints to the 30-minute missions kits, or the 30-minute sisters kits here. There's two slightly offset pegs that go into each other. They can rotate all the way around each other like so, and they can rotate inside. So you can move this one forward. You can get a lot of cool angles on that one. You can rotate it a little bit more, and that will get you where you need to be. Not sure why you would need to do that, but you can if you need to. So that's his arm. Up here in the chest, there's a pivot system up here. So if you hold this isolated, you can turn this forward. And that is in conjunction to the ball and socket in here, which allows you to move this part up and around. And then down below, actually, that's the ball and socket. This one is on a pivot here. So this one can move up and down and side to side, just a very small amount. This one will allow more for the side to side movement because it's a ball. So that's quite a bit there. And then there's another ball and socket here, which allows you to move it around here. This one also moves back and forth as well to get you even wider range of posability. So you can get quite a lot out of that. If this is even to the ground, you can see he can bend quite a ways out of the way for a cool striking pose or a dodge with his shield up, something like that. Or even a stumbling fall where he's, you know, trying to protect himself. But in conjunction, you can see you have quite a bit of range of motion from just these joints here. And so that's backwards and that's forwards. And of course you can rotate that in various instances depending on the armor and get him to tweak and maneuver in whatever you like. Let's get his arms back in normal fashion. Oh, I forgot to mention this on his shoulder. This is on 2 pegs here, so he can move up and down as well. It's not much to write home about, but if you have something pegged into the 30 minutes slot right here, you're going to want to be able to maneuver that. Now onto his hips. There are, let's see, get this out of the way. Come on, guys. The hips can move up and down inside the slot, just like a 30-minute Sisters can. So you can move that up and down. Just that little bit adds quite a bit of range of motion because this one also can move up and down. You can move that like so and like so. And of course you can rotate that around the axis. You can move that all the way up, all the way in, and rotate it like so. This section also moves all the way around here, and so does here. If you want this armor part to be in front, you can do that. It does work, but more than likely you're gonna want it like this. And of course that also pegs into here, so you can rotate that. This does have a dual jointed leg system, or knee system, so you can move that up. It isn't much better than the arm. As you see, the angle is relatively the same, but you do have options on which section of the knee to move. So if you want his knee armor to be protruding up, you can hold that one down and move like so, or you can just do the whole thing down so that he can protect his lower leg. His ankle system is very sophisticated as well. This is, I think, the weak point of these kits. The joint system here is kind of weak. So it just pegs in, but look at how little of the peg actually goes in. I've tried pushing that pretty hard to go in there, but what happens is this actually goes through it, and that takes up some of the room in what could actually go inside here. That would be a lot stronger, but it's not too much to worry about. That little bit extra that can't go through, it doesn't amount to too much. Just don't put any pressure on it when you're trying to pose it. So that will allow you to rotate here. And then as you saw, this joint can move like so. And then this one is a peg inside here. That will allow you to turn the foot at the very lowest part of the body. You see where that came off because I was manipulating it. That's what I say, it's the weak point of the joint system. Quite a lot of posability. You know, if you want to do a toe kick, you can definitely do that. If you want to do, you know, some cool running angles, You can do that. His arms are all over the place. Sorry, I keep messing with them. But you know, he can do some JoJo poses. You know, that you can get quite a lot out of them with what they are just right out of the box. As far as the Libra Knight goes, quite a lot of flexibility. The Roseanne Knight will be almost exactly the same. There are only options that are different here. It's just the face parts, the mouth parts, as far as what we see here. Also color, because of course, you know, he's a little bit different in color. Now, I want to do size comparison here, but we're going to do that after I armor him up at least the one time. I am going to fast forward through it because it does take some time to put everything on. This kit, it's pretty parts heavy in and of itself, but with the Knight mode on, the Knight, I think he's just called Knight Armor. Yeah, so he's called the Silhouette in regular one. Then he gets his job changed to Libra Knight. And then of course you have the Paladin, and then this one is the Holy Knight. So let's go ahead and get him into his Knight mode, and we will see how that looks. Alright, so as you saw, I did have to take a couple of pieces off, like the chest armor, some of the rings there, the mouth part, which is the most interesting, and the shoulder armors. I swapped out the hands because he's going to gain some weapons here. I forgot to mention that he does have extra hands. Of course, you have the closed fist that I had him with to begin with, and then we have open hands for both sides and holding hands for both sides. They're not super sophisticated, of course, but they do each come with their own joint system. So this one comes with one that can go just left and right, and is a little bit sturdier than the other. So you can just go up and down like so, and then rotate inside the socket. Whereas the other one does have that crazy rotation system inside, just like the girl model kits. And then of course you have the blank rings for the leg section, and blank rings for the upper arm section. Alright, and so as far as weapons, this one is a knight, so he has a sword and he has a shield. The shield does come with two attachments. That is this one here, which has the 3mm peg. That one pegs into here or wherever else you would like. And he also has one that can be used hand holding. So if you want to swap this out for any other Gundam, 30-minute missions, things like that don't have 3mm ports where they need to be, you can use this. There's also two parts for holding. This one can be used to hold the shield to his back, just 3mm to 3mm, a little bit offset. I don't know if you can see that, but the angle is off just a hair from straight. And then here is just a holding part like so. So C-clip that will hold 3mm pegs. So if you have, let's say this one, it'll peg right in there. So that'll hold his sword, which is also 3mm. All right, for size comparison, this here is the HG GBN based Gundam. This one is slightly taller than our normal RX-782 Gundam. As you see here, though, he is only up to the shoulders of our Liber Knight, and just quite a bit skinnier than he is in terms of bulk. This one has seen better days, needs his joints retightened. I need to do that eventually, especially if I continue to use him for the size comparison part of this channel. Here too is the 30-minute missions Alto in a commander outfit with the shield, the chest plate, the shoulders, and the faceplate being slightly different. So you can see 30-minute missions, smaller by far than our 30-minute fantasy here, but they are very compatible lines with the 3mm ports and pegs all over this guy's body that will match up with some of the parts on this guy here. I am excited to see some customs using these new curvier parts than these blockier versions that we get on the 30-minute missions. Both this one and the HG Gundam before are in 1/100 scale, where this one doesn't have a specified scale. But that being said, our 1/100 scale Jinrai from Kotobukiya's Frame Arms series is right about the same height as our Liber Knight, so maybe it's a 1/100 scale. Possibly not, but we just go ahead and tease that one out there. They do look very similarly sized, so that's always good if you want to have some variation in your collection. If you have a Frame Arms collection, most people don't, but I'm sure some of you do, and you'll see that these ones do pair up pretty well in sizes. And because they pair up well in sizes with the Frame Arms series, they might also pair up very well in sizes with the Frame Arms girls. With a very human style body, a knight would go along very well with your collection of roughly 1/12 scale Frame Arms girls, Megami Device, and 30-minute sisters, of which I need to go bring one. Alright, so I brought out the Luluche 30-minute sisters kit. I used her during Christmas to pass out presents, so she had her little coat on, she has her boots on still, and her hat. But as you see, the height difference here, she is just about the size of a high-grade, the high-grade Gundam that I brought out earlier, right at his shoulders. So the scale is slightly different than the Frame Arms series, but we already knew that. But still, reasonably sized difference between someone who would be a knight and someone who would just be, you know, a girl. Alright, and for other size differences here, this is my 124 scale Hexagear Governor. This is Nero. 124 scale, he's a knight type, so very similar in jobs as this one. You can see a lot of similar veins in their decoration, you know, the knee pads, the bracers on the feet, I'm not sure what those ones are called, and the shoulder guards. So a lot of similarities in the decoration, but not so much on the size. And then, of course, for the largest one that I have in my size comparison here, that's my Master Grade Alex Gundam, 1/100 scale. So he is quite a bit taller than the Knight is, but still in similar size and scale to the 1/100. I think it would fit. We don't know exactly how large these ones are in size or scale. I'm going to read a blurb in just a bit that will tell you a little bit about the history of the 30-minute fantasy world. But as you see, in terms of sizes, it's right there between a master grade and a high grade size. Alright, so before I go ahead and swap out his armor to the Holy Knight, let's read the story. Now, we have an official fantasy, 30 Minutes Fantasy website. If you want to check that one out, that is access to their Twitter. It is in English. They are really pushing this one in the States, so that's pretty cool. Let's read the story here. I don't know if I have the glare right there. DLRO, a world where civilizations have been wiped off the face of the planet. Earth was struck by meteorites, resulting in environmental changes across the planet. The Earth overflowed with harmful substances which later became known as the elements. Due to the elements that spread in the atmosphere, Earth's population had drastically dwindled. The livelihoods of the few remaining humans who had survived were threatened by the elements, and a few managed to escape to space using spaceships that were left. Scientists who tried to overcome this dire situation came up with the Maximilian Project. This plan was to return to Earth to a habitable state. Scientists succeeded in developing element cores and mechanical life forms Maximilia, which were key factors to the plan. In the world of DLRO, where conventional civilizations have been wiped out, humans in the Maximilia machine life forms created numerous countries over the course of 7 centuries. The Liber Republic chooses to coexist with Maximilia, while the Razan Empire decided to subjugate Maximilia. Element cores hold the key to the fate of this world full of mysteries. So that's the story of the universe. The Liber Holy Knight has a special story as well. It says this is a Class 3 job requiring swordsmanship imbued with divine power and advanced physical defense abilities. Members of this job wield a sword and shield endowed by holy power. Those with this job have knightly proficiency equal to paladins and are highly skilled. Their strength as holy knights is demonstrated when they are protected by these divine powers that sleep within the land and secret places. Now that's the story of the Holy Knight. The Liber Knight, that's what I meant to read, says this is a Class 1 job requiring a sword and shield. It's a basic job that demands mastery of all types of swordsmanship. That's funny that's basic, because swordsmanship is pretty tough. Those of this job combine the offensive ability of swords, the defensive abilities of shields, and the martial abilities of knights. It is a versatile job that is useful in any situation. Basically, he's an all-around type of guy, a soldier that would be standard issue. Now, if you remember what I said on the story, the Liber Knights are Maximilia that live with humans. The other ones are subjected by humans. So they're not evil per se, but they are basically pushed into service by the humans. So they're kind of twisted a little bit. Slavery usually does that to a people. So being artificial life forms, coexisting would probably be a better situation. I'm going to go ahead and put together the Holy Knight armor so you guys can see what that looks like. Give me a second and I will show you guys what that looks like. So it took about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It's not that long to do. Adding the class up armor doesn't involve taking too many parts off, but as you saw, you got to take the shoulder parts off of the armor so that you can add these new pieces on, and the wristlets, I guess these would be braces on his wrist, so that you can add the gold ones on instead. And of course the faceplate being the grilled style here versus the one that he's wearing now with the big Gundam V-fin. And that does add to his height some. So as you see, our regular old Gundam is still dwarfed by his scale, but it does add just a little bit more to his height. Now the flexibility is still there. As you saw when I was moving him, he isn't inhibited by any of that armor at all, except that shield part, because that part doesn't want to go right in between here perfectly. It kind of spreads the shield out, so I wanted to move that around a little bit, kind of hide that from the situation. It's not too bad. It doesn't take anything away except for that. Maybe you want to manipulate these a little bit, or have him holding it in his hand. That might be better. All this part does is just adds on, and same with the front here. It's just a piece that adds on, so it isn't really getting in the way of too much. So it's realistically not a bad thing to take away from articulation. I mean, he can still do almost anything that he would normally be able to do. It is a really solidly engineered kit for flexibility. And you could do a really cool stance like this. Of course, you can't keep that stance, but if you weight him down or you put him on a stand, have him do some cool stuff. The class up armor, the Knight armor, which is a class 1 job, versus the Holy Knight, which is a class 3 job. I'm not sure how that one works, but it does hide the purple quite a lot, either of those options that you put. You could still see some of it, but it is peeking through as opposed to being a feature when he's in his silhouette form. It's not a bad thing, it's just a thing. And he does look interestingly different compared to what he did before. And I will say that the white, it kind of really shines when you put the gold in next to it. These are a very nice injection molded gold. It's not the best, but you can see it isn't as pukey as some of the other stuff that you've seen before. And I think the reason for that is the lack of details. And I'll be the first to admit that it doesn't have a lot of edges like SD Gundams do, where they have a lot of diverse edges on their kits so that it shows more detailed parts. The one part that does suffer on that is the shield here, especially on the back where it has those grooves. Let's see if I can show you guys what that looks like. You see there, that tends to look a little bit more like what the SD Gundams tend to look like, but that does look, it's not super bad. It still is puke injection. I just think this one's better than some of the other ones. It's more like a clear piece with gold in it rather than just like pukey yellow. It's not terrible. It still is bad though. It's definitely going to get a paint job on this one. And if I get the Paladin armor anytime soon, I will definitely put a paint job into that one as well. I don't have that one currently. I need to get it. But as far as the Holy Knight, I think this is an amazing first entry into a new line. I think he looks great as is. The silhouette form is a little iffy. He kind of just looks like a dude. That's not bad, but it's not exactly what I was wanting when we got into this line. The Knight outfit looks great on him. I think it's fantastic. And the Holy Knight is also really cool. I do have the Rosen Knight, so that will be probably the next one that I review in this series. Makes sense to do so. I also just acquired the Liber Warrior, which is the Liber Fighter and the Warrior outfit, the class up. Just like this one is, we have the class up armor, so the silhouette to the Liber Knight, to the Liber Holy Knight. That one is the, I didn't know he was missing. So that one is the Liber Fighter plus Warrior. Liber Silhouette plus Fighter plus Warrior. So we'll get that one done soon too. I'm not collecting just one of the sides. I definitely want to get both. the black and purple, those both appeal to me quite a bit. So those are definitely going to be up there in terms of kits that I want to collect. And I do have the 30-minute missions and 30-minute sister series in droves. I don't want to leave out the 30-minute fantasy. I might have to give up another kit line in order to collect it because these are getting pretty expensive. This one itself was $32. It's not that bad because you consider that the kit itself was $22. And then you have a $10 upcharge for the warrior outfit. I think it's $8 individually. It might be $10, but I think it's $8. In fact, I'm pretty sure. But we do get an exclusive box art and things like that. And they just wanted to upcharge us. And you know, sometimes that's fine. It's fine. I didn't feel like I got ripped off buying this kit at $32. It doesn't feel like a bad deal. And this is a really cool looking kit. Painted up, I'm sure it looks fantastic. I have seen customs already that look incredible. So definitely be on the lookout for more of those as this series continues to progress. Remember, this is just the first entry into the line, and it's already amazing. So it isn't the best kit as far as what I built. It is way up there though, so definitely get one. That is going to be it for this video though, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys next time, or you'll see me, but more than likely you'll see my stuff. Bye bye.